Belisarius by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, 1807 to 1882. I am poor and old and blind. The sun burns me, and the wind blows through the city gate and covers me with dust from the wheels of the august Justinian the Great. It was for him I chased the Persians o'er wild and waste, as general of the East. Night after night I lay in their camps of yesterday. Their forage was my feast. For him with sails of red and torches at mast-head, piloting the great fleet, I swept the Afric coasts and scattered the Vandal hosts like dust in a windy street. For him I won again the Ausonian realm and reign, Rome and Parthenope, and all the land was mine, from the summits of Apennine to the shores of either sea. For him in my feeble age I dared the battle's rage to save Byzantium's state, when the tents of Zabergan like snowdrifts overran the road to the Golden Gate. And for this, behold, infirm and blind and old, with grey uncovered head, beneath the very arch of my triumphal march, I stand and beg my bread. Methinks I can still hear, sounding distinct and near, the Vandal monarch's cry, as captive and disgraced, with majestic step he paced, all is vanity. Ah, vainest of all things is the gratitude of kings. The plaudits of the crowd are but the clatter of feet at midnight in the street, hollow and restless and loud. But the bitterest disgrace is to see for ever the face of the monk of Ephesus. The unconquerable will this too can bear. I still am Belisarius. Okay, this poem is by Longfellow, who is an American poet, and this is one of his historical fiction poems. Belisarius was a Byzantine general from, I think, the 6th century AD. And he fought for Justinian the Great and was a great general. But then at some point there is a legend that Justinian the Great blinded Belisarius and banished him, I think, to Ephesus, and left him to beg in poverty. And this is about the story of Belisarius, and this is Belisarius talking. So he says, I'm poor and old and blind. So he's a poor, old, blind man. The sun burns me, so he gets sunburned the whole time. And the wind blows through the city gate and covers me with dust from the wheels of the august Justinian the Great. So I think a carriage or a chariot of Justinian the Great goes by. Yeah, august, great and important. And the dust from the wheels covers Belisarius. And then he starts to think, and he remembers his past. It was for him I chased the Persians o'er wild and waste, as general of the East. So he now remembers when he beat the Persians, and he chased after them, and he beat the Persian army. Night after night I lay in their camps of yesterday. So I think either he's sleeping in the place where they camped the day before, running after them, or after defeating them and they run away. Their forage was my feast. So I think Belisarius now, he's a hungry old man who's begging for food, and he's remembering the times where his army would take the forage, the food found by the Persians, and feast on it. For him, for Justinian, with sails of red and torches at mast-head, piloting the great fleet. So he remembers being in charge of a great fleet of ships with red sails and burning torches at the top of the mast. I swept the Afric coasts and scattered the Vandal hosts. So here he's remembering how he beat Carthage and the Carthaginians in North Africa, and he made them run away. And he scattered them like dust in a windy street. A very nice little metaphor here. Yeah, he's blowing them away like the wind blows the dust. For him I won again the Ausonian realm and reign, Rome and Parthenope. So Byzantium is what was left after the Roman Empire. And people fled to Byzantium, to Constantinople, and they no longer controlled Italy. Now the Ausonian realm is talking about Italy. So he reconquered Italy and Rome and Parthenope. And all the land was mine, from the summits of Apennine to the shores of either sea. So he conquered by right all of Italy, from the tops of the Apennine mountains to the shores of the sea either side of Italy in the Mediterranean. For him in my feeble age I dared the battle's rage, to save Byzantium's state. So once again, when he was getting old, he went again to battle and faced the dangers of battle to save Byzantium. When the tents of Zabergan, like snowdrifts, overran the road to the Golden Gate. So at this time, Byzantium is in danger. And the enemy, I think these are probably the Vandals, Zabergan, there were thousands and thousands of enemy, like snowdrifts overran. Here we have another simile. Yeah, there are so many of them. They're like the enemy. They're like a snowdrift, and they overran the road to the Golden Gate. So they were very near. But again, he beat Byzantium's enemies. And for this, behold, infirm and blind and old. So look at me now. I'm ill. I've been blinded. I'm an old man, with grey uncovered head, beneath the very arch of my triumphal arch. So my hair is grey, and I don't even have enough money for something to cover my head against the sun. And I'm sitting below an arch through which I came back in triumph from one of my victories, and everybody was excited, but now I'm sitting here, and I'm standing and begging my bread and asking for people to give me bread. And then he remembers the Vandal king. Methinks, I think I still can hear, sounding distinct and near, the Vandal monarch's cry. So he's now remembering having captured the king of the Vandals. As captive and disgraced, with majestic step he paced. So the Vandal king, even though he was a captive and his empire had been taken from him, he was still very proud, and he still maintained his composure. All is vanity. So he's thinking of pride is vanity, and this is not something that he can afford now in his current state. He can't afford to be proud and vain. He's got to be practical and find enough food for today. Vainest of all things is the gratitude of kings. Yes, so if you think kings are going to be grateful and to be proud of that, then that is vanity, because look at my state now. This doesn't last. The plaudits, the cheers of the crowd are but the clatter of feet at midnight in the street. So the cheers of the crowd now don't mean anything. They're just the same as feet walking up and down the street, the clatter, bang, bang, clatter, clatter of the feet at midnight in the street, hollow and restless and loud. So, yeah, the cheers and praises of the crowd now are nothing except for they're just like the people's feet walking up the street at midnight. And here we've got a nice metaphor. Yeah, he's saying they are. So he's saying the cheers of the crowd, they're hollow and restless and loud. They have no meaning, because that's the past and now is now. But the bitterest disgrace is to see forever the face of the monk of Ephesus. So I think he's saying one of the things that's worse for him is that he's been banished from Constantinople, and he has to spend his time in Ephesus and always be in Ephesus. The unconquerable will this too can bear. So he's saying my will to live, my desire, my drive to live cannot be conquered. And this disgrace, together with everything else, I can bear it. I still am Belisarius. So whatever you do to me, I'm still me. And that you can never change. So enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Belisarius by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.